Gentlemen, I'm very happy to be here again. This is my second time to be here to introduce some China steel industries. I'm from China Metallurgical Planning and Research Institute. This company is something like a consulting company, but anyhow, we are the only one in China to providing the service for central government, local government, and the steel company, and also other companies related to steel, to Chinese steel industries. So because the time very limited, only 10 minutes before lunch. Anyhow, I'll keep my key point very shortly to all of you. If you have any question, you can copy it, my presentation. So before I come here, I'm having the 4 questions. What's the outlook for China's steel market? Something about the raw material, long products, and what's the situation about the overcapacity and the environmental pollution in China. And the third one, will China steel export will increase despite some trade issues? And what's the situation of new normals for China steel industries? So this is the 4 questions before I come here to prepare for today's presentation. And here I go to the first one. What's the outlook for China steel market? Here, I give you the picture of China steel products consumption from the 1990 to currently. So you can see from the picture, from the year 1990 to 20,000, China steel consumption grows slowly with some fluctuations. That depends on the economy. But anyhow, from the 2001 to currently, China steel consumption increased very rapidly with the faster development of China economy. But anyhow, according to our research, China steel consumption hit the peak point in the year 2014 with 702 million steel products. And of that, we think China's steel consumption will decline. So last year, 2015, China's steel consumption roughly about 664 million tons, which dropped about 5.4%. So this is the first time the China steel production consumption decline since the year 1996. It's very important for China, and I think still very important to world steel industry, because currently China produces about half of the world steel production, and consumption about 45% of the world steel products. So that's very important that any change of the China steel industry will have very big effect to the world steel industries. So what's the situation of the production? From this picture, you can see China's steel production increased very fast after 2000, with the steel consumption domestic increase very fast. So last year, China produced about 803 million tons. But anyhow, it decreased about 2.3%. Last year, globally, the steel production decreased about 2.8%. So I think the 2015 is a very important point, not only for China, but for the global steel industries. So what will be the next? So sorry, I'll give you a big picture of China's steel production in different regions. Currently, we have about 500 steel companies, bigger and smaller one, in China. So that's why it's not easy for people to understand China's steel industry. 500 steel companies, steel producer. So even more for the downstream process. So anyhow, about 446 million tons along the coastal area, such as the Hebei, Liaoning, Shandong, and the Tianjin, Jiangsu province. This province about 55% of China steel production. So maybe from this picture, you can have a very clear idea. Anyhow, even in China, last year, some province increased their production. For example, Jiangsu province increased about 11%. But some provinces decreased their production. So especially in the inland China, for example, for the Xinchuang regions, decreased about nearly 40%. So China is not the same situation. Some increase, some decrease. So that's the situation in China. So we cannot judge in China very simply. So you think it's one scenario is totally different. And here, because we are research centers, we do some research for long term. I just mentioned China passed the historical consumption point year before. So what's the future of China steel consumption? So according to our research, based on the downstream industries analysis and also the GDP consumption intensity, a lot of factors take into account. I think in the year 2030, the China steel consumption roughly about 500 million tons. That's the steel consumption, not the production. How much China will produce, it depends how much China can export. So that's the general development trend of China's market. What's more important for raw material? Here you can see, and with the down channels for the consumption and production. But currently, I think not more than 10% of China's steel production come from the EF, and the more than 90% from the BF process. So with the more gradually use the scrap, I'm thinking the pick-up production will decline more than the steel production. So that will be changing the raw material more important than only the steel production. So that means that the structure of the China steel production will change in the world raw material market. So that's very, very important situation. That means that for the iron, metallurgical will meet a challenge in the future. Of course, here I mentioned the because China is the bigger consumption of iron, which currently China consumption about 60% of the world iron market. So, but of which we can see the major producer from Australia and Brazil, which is about 75% export. So last year, China imported about 950 million tons of iron globally. So that's the general situation. Anyhow, with the advantage of the raw material, the Brazil, Australia, and South Africa, and also Ukraine increased their export. But the other countries, because of the high cost of the production, so their export decreased about 37% roughly. So here I am very quickly. China is also very big producer of iron. Even we do not export, but last year we produced about 1.3 billion tons of raw iron because the FE contained much lower compared with other countries. So the final product is not of iron, not too much. That's the general situation because the low price of iron globally, so the high cost mining company leave the market. So, but of course, the big four mining company very advantaged because their production skill very big, and with the same time they try the best to decrease their cost. So the big four mining company very competitively advantaged globally. So that's the general situation. So because the time I quickly to pass the iron market because I think most of you think more about the scrap because China use more iron, not too much of scrap. Here I'm very quickly to pass it. So because the time limited. So anyhow, and according to our forecasting, and the iron price will be this year will be between $40 to $60 per ton. But next year will be the same. But later, with the finish of the Big Four to expand the capacity, and with some high cost money coming leaving the market, the world balance will be a better situation. So the IO will be a little increase later. So according to our forecast, maybe between $50 to $70 in the year 2020. Then some forecast according to our research. So of course, China still try our best to keep the increase, to keep the level, some high level of IO production. First, we have some room to cut the cost and increase the efficiency of mining company. So also maybe to reduce some high mining tax for mining company. So we'll keep some survivors. So that's the simple situation. Here, for the steel products, long products. First, I go to rebar consumption. Last year, China rebar consumption roughly about 204 million tons, decrease about 3.5%. So anyhow, which is still about 55% of the consumption in the construction areas. And of course, some thing about the property room to develop. I think the overcapacity in China is still very serious for the supply of the house and for the slow increase rate of the fixed asset investment. So I think the overcapacity for rebar also very serious, and that's the situation. And of course, according to our forecast, and in the year 2020, the total steel consumption in the construction industry, which about 320 million tons, but of which the rebar will be consumption only about 150 million tons. So the population will be declined. So with some new force coming for maybe for the steel structure, we use more flat products, reduce the use of rebar. So for the wires, you can see here, last year China's wire consumption is about 135 million tons. But according to our forecast, so the wire consumption will be decreased to 122 million tons. So, but anyhow, we pay more attention to the more high quality, the great production for the wire production. That's the general situation. And for the special steel bars, so you can see we covered the machinery, automobiles, and the railways, and the wind powers. So because the manufacture still keep increasing, even the increase rate is lower than before, but it still keep increasing. So that's why the special steel but still very big market in China, which last year about 51 million tons, still huge. But anyhow, with the performance, especially the quality improvement, I think the market of the special steel bar still very huge in China. And for the HB, last year, China, the steel structure totally is about consumption about 50 million tons of steel products, of which about 60% from the flat products. And anyhow, which consumption about 8 million tons of hot rolling HB. And I think with the quality improve in the future, according to our planning in the year 2020, the steel construction total consumption will be between 80 to 100 million tons. So that means will be reduced some of the rebar construction in China. So the hot rolled HB consumption will be doubled. That means about 16 million tons in the year 2020. So that's a very encouraging market for the steel structure building in China in the future. And for the railways, you can see China with the faster development of the railway project, and the railway lung production still keeping a very high level. Last year will be the last consumption about with 2.7 million tons, but in the future roughly about 3 million tons. So, but anyhow, the quality will be improved for the railway construction areas. So that's something about the lung product consumption in China. For the overcapacity, yes, so currently the overcapacity is very serious, not only in China, but globally. According to World Steel Association's numbers, the world steel capacity utilization rates only about 66% currently. And also because for the number of last year, China's steel capacity utilization is about 71.5%. So of course, I think the overcapacity is very serious, not only in China, but also globally, especially with the decrease of consumption. So that's why we're thinking how to dealing with the overcapacity is the key issues, not only in China, but globally. Anyhow, we have different areas. Totally, I think we are very serious overcapacity. But for some specific products, for the medium and heavy plate, the overcapacity is more serious. It's not more than 60% for the utilization rates. But for the rebar, wire section, and hot rolling, the utilization of the capacity is 70 to 75%. But for the cold rolling, electrical steels and galvanized sheet, and all the cold rolling wide stripping, the utilization is much better, about 75 to 80%. This is for specific products for China. So, and also another issue I mentioned, the different part of China, because China is a big country, and some areas, for example, more seriously, for example, the north part of China, the overcapacity may be a little seriously. So you can see that they are very, very big need export. That means still leaving the north part of China roughly much more than their consumptions. But in the East China, so it's a net. It's a South China, Central South China is net imported. You can see the and northeastern is the northeastern is a net import. So different pattern, the different series about the overcapacity. So we give a different utilization ratios for different provinces. So that means we cannot judge China as a one side. It's because a different part of a big country, the capacity utilization is different. So yes, how we dealing with the overcapacity? Of course, I mentioned that we have 500 companies, some good, some not good. So any company which cannot fail to meet the regulations and standards have to close. That means the environmental protection regulation, we have very serious, strict the environmental regulations, also energy consumption, quality, safety, and technical labels. That means we close according to the regulation and laws. So currently we have very clear picture for each area for the environmental energy consumption, quality regulation, and safety and technical labels. So that means it's very serious for how to deal with the overcapacity in China. So, you know, China is a big country. The central government have very strict regulation. Some local government, because far from the central government, they have much more power to organize their local economies. So anyhow, for this time, I think we realize the overcapacity is a very serious problem. So all part of China have to take the issues very strictly according to the law. So that's, I want to repeat again, we have very clear regulation for how to do it. And of course, in February, the central government have a plan how to deal with the overcapacity. That means we reduce about 100 million tons to 150 million tons reduction of the capacity during the next 5 years, at least, maybe much more. Part of the capacity leaving the market is according to the law. So that's a very detailed process for that. And of course, we have very strict issues for the environmental improvement. We have from each process, from the center and BUF, and also for downstream every details. So because time limited, I don't want to waste the time here. So maybe if you need to, you can look at my PPT later. So we have very strict the air polluted, water polluted, and the solid waste. You can see totally decreasing year by year. So that's the general number of what we improve during the past few years. It's a real number, not something. So here I give the comparison of major environmental indicator. You can see we have very strict standards, but also we have a good company. You can see from both statistical and some standards some number much better than the best steel produced in the world, even better than Portugal, Nippon Steel, maybe even better than the company here in European. So you can see we have a lot of good companies, they're very green, very environment friendly. So that's the real situation. For the standards, you can see some standards much high, much more strict than European, European standards. So that's the what we do for how to improve the environment in steel areas. Oh, that's quickly to pass the overcapacity. But here, what Chinese steel export will increase and depart the trade issues? Yes, the people mentioned a lot of trade issues. We have to face the challenges. Anyhow, I'll give you the picture here. You can see from the year before how China imported, how China will export. So last year, of course, China exported about 112 million tons. At the same time, last year, we only imported about 12 million tons. But by the end of the year 2014, China total imported steel products about 600 million tons. That's because the heavy pressure of China import from other countries to push China's steel industry to develop very faster, to meet the local requirement, the local market. Just because the competition, especially to improve the quality, the service, the market, the efficiency. So now China's steel industry is very strong globally to competition. That's why we can export to meet the market overseas. Just because the huge importing from other countries, some from European, some from American, give the opportunity for China's steel industry to develop. That's very big issues. So I think it's unfair to anti-dumping to Chinese products. Why we can import too much? So here I give the where we import. So we import some from the Japan, South Korea, the neighbor countries. Where we export most to the neighbor countries. As steel trade also neighborly. That means last year China exported about 13.4 million tons to South Korea, and about 10.1 million tons to Vietnam. So, and the Philippines about 5.6 million tons. So you have most of the export to our neighbor country, very little to European, to American. But anyhow, a lot of dumping from European, from America is unfair. So I repeat again. So why we need the World Trade Organization? Before we import too much, you cannot compare with China import a lot continuously. So of course, last year we have about 37 cases and dumping against China. I think most of the unfair. I want to repeat again. Don't give more for that. So at least a lot of the anti-dumping cases. But anyhow, we have to face the challenging globally. And why we can export, I mentioned before, the good quality, good price, good service. If the quality cannot meet the customer, we cannot export. The anti-dumping most from the producers, but I meet a lot of, I travel a lot globally. I have a lot of friends from the customers. They say, your product generally will come because of good quality, good service, good price. But of course, we also face the tough challenging from the producer. But anyhow, even we face so serious the anti-dumping issues, it cannot change or reduce the advantage of China's steel industries competing globally. The good service, good price, good products, it was accumulated during the past competition of local to meet the local products and also meet the global customers. Even in the future, we think we still have the advantage. We still can keep high level of export. If we cannot increase our export, but still can keep high level export. Nothing can change the factors. Of course, how we do it. So for the overall strategy for the export, so we will develop the industry advantage, actively participate in the international competition, and promote the strategic conversion from the volume oriented to the quality oriented. That's a very big change. So that means we promote high quality products and activity to face the trade issue challenges, and also diversify our export. What's more important to save dependence on innovation and important optimizations. So I think China still industry can still keep export. So what's the new normal quickly? So of course the total GDP growth slowly is natural. Anyhow, even we economic growth rates down to 6.9% last year, China still the big contributions to the world economy. China contributed about 30% of world GDP growth. So of course, we have to change the development models. We cannot depend too much on the investment. So currently, the urbanization rate is about 56%. So which give it a good push for the urbanization for the steel consumption, and we should pay more attention to the structure of China economy. That means the service industry contributed nearly 50.5% of the total GDP last year. And the service industries, the manufacturing area contributing about 40%. So that means that the change of China's economic structure will affect the steel consumption in China, as mentioned before. Currently, about 55% of steel production consumption is related to the investment areas, about 35% to the manufacturing areas. But then the change of economy will affect the China market very seriously. So of course, China economy, also China steel industry will pay more attention to the innovation, not just the capacity. So totally, we think that in the future, China's growth will from high speed into medium and high speed. That means maybe next 5 years, maybe China GDP growth between 6.5% to 7%. That's roughly. And how we have to change the development models from the intensive growth, emphasize the skills and the speed into intensive growth, emphasize the quality and efficiency. And also the structure changing from capacity expansion into integration of inventory adjustment and the new capacity optimization. And we try our best from traditional to new ones to pay more attention to the technology innovation. Of course, we have a new 5-year coming. We have a totally the planning for next 5 years. So we pay more attention to innovation, coordination, and friendly environmental open and sharing the principle for the future development. And how to develop it, I mentioned again, to promote the structure of reform and to promote to promote the industries and upgrading and expand the effective and high quality supplies. Also try our best to remove the overcapacity, inventory and delivery and reduce cost and with the company, the shortcoming. So, and more important, develop new driving force to improve the traditional competitive advantages. So we remove the overcapacity of steel, not to give up steel. We still try our best to keep our advantage. So we have very detailed strategy for the manufacturing areas. That means to improve the basic ability, new manufacturing rapidly, and also promote modification and upgrading of the traditional industries, example and central. So for steel areas, quickly, so I think this is the picture for China steel in the future, new normal. That means the negative growth for the production, for the consumption. Of course, the steel price will keep it low level for long term because the overcapacity globally, not only China. At the same time, the low price of raw material, but of course, because of overcapacity, the competition is very fierce, not good economic performance. So anyhow, we also meet the very pressure from the environmental issue, examples. That's why push us to pay more attention to new idea than the innovation, the business model innovation, management and technology innovation to improve the competitiveness of the internationally. So this picture I want to mention again. So, and China passed the peak of the consumption production, down trip. That's what I mentioned here. And for the first 3 months, first 2 months, the global steel decreased, of which China decreased about 5.7%. So that's why currently a little increase of the steel price, because the new balancing of the supply and demand. So of course, the key factor here of China's steel industry is the huge capacity, important position for the local economy, and very serious differentiation. We enter a reduction before power enough, and also the very complicated ownership. That's very difficult for you to understand because we have central government or steel, local government on steel, but also private steel. Currently, the private steel company contribute about 55% production of China's steel production. So you can say most of the steel comes from private company. So for the overcapacity, I think that is a long term, and also cause maybe the structure of the steel adjustment. That means the more increase for the EAF production, and also China will keep the import high level, and also the low demand company and the not friendly environment will be leaving the market, and also the innovation development for the steel. So in the future, we pay more attention and keep the reduction first, and environmental pay more environmental and increase the consolidation to improve quality first, diversify the operation and the differentiation. Also pay more attention to intelligent, smart process and service, improve our service better to meet the customer. Also internationalizations. So the key in the future for China's steel industry is to reduce the overcapacity. So we also pay more attention to innovation, coordination, environmental friendly, and open and sharing, with not only in China but also globally. So that's my presentation. Thank you very much.